This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Sam's script called for the main characters to endure countless woes during the course of one interminable night. It kind of worked this way. If you weren't possessed by a demon, you were chased by one. If you weren't killed, you were at least caught and soon wished that you had been. If you were killed, however, your character would come back to life as an unstoppable monster. As you might imagine, the actors were pushed to the brink of human endurance very quickly. One such scene called for Teresa Seaforth's character to be hacked apart with an axe. Because the film had no rating, and we really didn't film any scenes to meet MPAA guidelines, Sam figured it would be cool to see her, quote, parts, flopping about on the floor. This required Teresa to be placed partially under the floor, with very specific boards fitted carefully around her neck. This way she could remain an animated, decapitated creature and torment those around her, torment being the operative word. Rob Tappert, who foolishly agreed to play her disembodied leg and arm, had to get into position next to her. Underneath the floorboards, their intertwined bodies resembled a perverted game of Twister. By the time everything was put into place, which was several hours later, Rob was getting horrible leg cramps. Teresa also felt that she had been uncomfortable long enough and was ready to get out. Sam, in a rare moment of compassion, agreed. That's when I had to step in. Look, guys, the whole thing sucks. Everyone's uncomfortable, but getting out right now isn't the answer because we're just going to have to put you back in again. Let's just shoot the damn thing right now and be done with it. After we shot that scene, Teresa never looked at me the same way again. Then it was Ellen Sandweiss's turn to endure the hardships of stardom. A scene in the film called for her to race through the woods, dressed only in a nightie and slippers, hoping to escape the evil force. This entailed an entire night of clawing her way literally through the dense foliage around the cabin. Oh, did I mention it was about 40 degrees outside? After the 22nd take, Ellen fell hard and gashed her leg. She began cursing and stated flatly that she couldn't film any more that night. Shooting came to a halt. Rob pulled Josh aside while the crew rapped to point out drops of blood left in Ellen's wake. I like it when an actor bleeds," he exclaimed. That's my bad imitation of Rob. That's how we all imitate him. It makes me feel like I got my money's worth." Later, it was Betsy Baker's turn. Her big scene took place in a makeshift graveyard up the hill from the cabin. Betsy Baker, as Linda, had just come back from the dead. You've all downloaded the script off the internet, right? As she attempts to kill the dim-witted Ash, me, he defends himself by smashing its murder beams over her head. These styrofoam beams, whose normal use is to create a rustic look in mobile home dens across America, were used extensively in Sam's epic Super 8 film It's Murder, and became identified with the same. The scene was to progress like this. Betsy approaches, I swing, the beam cracks over her head, and she spits out a milky bile. Hoping to avoid putting in the cumbersome white contact lenses, we applied white makeup to her eyelids instead. As long as she kept her eyes closed, you wouldn't really notice the fakery in the middle of a scuffle. Therefore, Betsy had no way of really knowing what was going to hit her, when, or how hard. For her close-up, Sam and I lined up on both sides of the camera with beams to get the maximum number of hits without stopping to reset. Upon action, I would swing my portion of the beam and break it over her head. Sam would then follow this with a blistering smack that would send Betsy into a rage. Sam would apologize, set up for another take, and do the exact same thing again. Here's what you got. Sam. Action. Bruce's hit. Whack. Sam's hit. Crack. Betsy. God damn it, Sam! After the third cranium-rattling blow, Betsy defiantly spewed milk, a bile substitute, in every direction, mostly into the camera lens. This, in turn, pissed off the cameraman, Tim Philo. So went a typical night. I wasn't left out of the torment loop, not by a long shot. In fact, since I shared a longer working relationship with Sam than anyone else on the set, I became the very least of Sam's worries. Sam knew too much, way too much, and it worked against me.